Hey everybody, welcome into Red Zone. Michael Johnston here with you, and it is time to reveal our Red Zone top 25 heading into week 9 of the college football season. Week 8 we thought was going to be a little low-key, not a lot of big matchups. Boy, were we wrong. It was upset week for sure. Survival week is what I would call it. Some of these teams just in an all-out battle probably felt like they were in an episode of Game of Thrones. Had a few teams really did take care of business. Going to be a big shake-up here in the Red Zone top 25. Again, these are just my rankings. Don't really go by AP or coach's poll. Really, none of these rankings matter. The only ones that matter are the college football playoff rankings. Those come out in a couple weeks. But until then, let's just have some fun, and I'll give you my rankings. Try to be as fair and objective as possible, but going to be some controversy with the top 10 because things definitely moved around this week. Let's start off with number 25, Virginia. They got the win 48-40 against Virginia Tech. Really, there was a few teams that could have been at 25. We were kind of splitting hairs here coming up with Virginia. You know, BYU had 2 straight losses. They get a win against Washington State. They could have been in there. Minnesota could have been in there. They've only got 2 losses. Unfortunately, one of those losses to Bowling Green. And a few others that, you know, could have made the cut. Oregon State is another one. However, they lost to Washington State and Purdue. So really just kind of like trying to gauge the teams they've played, the competition, and just narrowly I put Virginia at 25. Number 24, UTSA, 45-16 winners over Louisiana Tech. Certainly deserving considering some of the losses by other teams. UTSA deserving to be in the top 25. Houston, they get the overtime win against East Carolina 31-24. They check in at number 23. Could have easily fallen out because that game was very close, and East Carolina could have won that game several times. So Houston just barely in the top 25. At 22, Iowa State. They come out with a big 24-21 win against Oklahoma State. Played really well, played solid. It was a very close game. And so, you know, Iowa State back in the top 25 deservingly at 22. 21 is Auburn. They were off last week, so they don't really move either way. They're just in there. San Diego State, they are at 20. They got the win 20-14 against Air Force, and they were actually the underdogs in this game. Air Force was actually a 4-point favorite. So San Diego State at 20 with the win over Air Force. Next, SMU, 50-26 winners over Tulane. Now SMU has a super high-powered offense. Tanner Mordecai at quarterback, Calcaterra at tight end. These guys are phenomenal, and they have a great offense. Unfortunately, they just don't have a defense hardly at all. It's really what's holding them back. If they improve on defense, I think they can move up higher in the top 25, but really that's what's kind of holding them back right now. At 18, Penn State, after the 9 overtime loss to Illinois, losing 20-18, Penn State falls. This is their 2nd straight loss, and they get Ohio State next week, probably a 3rd straight loss, which would dump them completely out of the top 25. But for this week, they stay in there at number 18. At 17, we have Baylor. They had a bye week this week. And then 16 is Texas A&M. They got the win 44-14 over South Carolina. Texas A&M just really on a roll since beating Alabama. They should continue to move up, playing in the SEC West. So look for good things out of Texas A&M. At number 15, Oklahoma State. They drop out of the top 10 to 15 after losing to Iowa State 24-21. Very close game. But considering Iowa State was unranked at the time, Cowboys have to fall down at least 7 spots. We drop them to 15 here. Number 14, Wake Forest. They get the win 70-56 over Army. Wake Forest's offense looks for real. They look really good. This was incredible, really. 126 points between these two schools. Just unbelievable. But Wake Forest, still undefeated, sits there at number 14. At 13, Notre Dame. They get the win 31-16 against their rival USC. So Notre Dame just outside the top 10 looking in. At number 12, Oregon. They get the 34-31 close win over UCLA. UCLA was the favorite in this game. Oregon lost C.J. Verdell for the year, but looks like they're going to be pretty good to go on offense. Question is what can their defense do? They played a lot better today against UCLA, but Oregon just not, to me, a top 10 team yet, you know, with that one loss that they had to an unranked Stanford, who's still unranked. So I just can't see moving Oregon any higher than 12 at the moment. At number 11, one loss Iowa. They had a bye week this week. Teams will move up and down based on who won or lost in front of them, But really, when a team doesn't play, you don't penalize them. And that goes for the number 10 team. That's Kentucky. Kentucky had a bye week. Their only loss right now to Georgia. Kentucky, certainly a top 10 team in my opinion. At number 9, Ole Miss. You guys know through the comments I've seen on the videos that you guys think I'm against Ole Miss. And granted, I'll admit I'm not a Lane Kiffin fan. But they get the 31-17 win over LSU. It was an impressive win. Ole Miss started the season having not really played anybody and really wasn't for sure, how good they were. They kind of struggled with Tennessee. I know Tennessee is better. But Ole Miss is proving that they're actually a really good football team, given who they've played and everything. I think they're a top 10 team. I'm going to put Ole Miss at 9. At 8, moving up from, I think I had them 10 last week, is Pitt. Pitt gets a 27-17 win over Clemson. Pitt was favored by 3.5. Pitt just has a tremendous offense. The one thing about Pitt, I know they have the one loss to Western Michigan. I've seen a ton of people commenting about the loss to Western Michigan. I get it. I know they lost to Western Michigan. But just like Ohio State lost to Oregon, Pitt is a different football team from when they lost that game, just like Ohio State's a different football team. So I think Pitt definitely is deserving of the top 10. I have them at 8 right now. Coming in at number 7, Michigan State. They're off this week. So, and they have a showdown coming up this coming week with Michigan. So I should say Michigan State was off this past week. They have Michigan coming up this week. Big noon kickoff on Fox. Going to be a huge game. So Michigan State, a chance to prove that they deserve to be higher in the rankings. They get their shot coming up. At number 6, Oklahoma. They win 35-23 at Kansas. That game was in doubt for a long time. Oklahoma's shut out in the first half. Oklahoma's defense is bad. They're terrible. I don't know how else to put it. They're really bad. It's what's holding them back. I get they're undefeated. It doesn't matter. They're not as good as the teams that I have ranked ahead of them. They have got to improve on defense and find a way to play better. That's bottom line. They got to find a way to play better. We had everybody gushing over Caleb Williams the week up leading to week 8 with people saying he's going to be the face of college football. You know what? He kind of struggled. I mean, he had that one big play in the second half, taking the ball from zone guy to get the first down. It was a great play, but he came down to earth a little bit this past week. So Oklahoma, until they turn it around on defense and start playing better, I don't see them any higher than 6. And that leads us to number 5, Alabama. Alabama won 52-24 against Tennessee. The game was close for the first half, 3 quarters, and then the Tide pull away because they're just a better team than Tennessee. I think Heupel's doing a great job there at Tennessee. They're going to get turned around next year, maybe the year after. They're going to be a contender in the SEC. They're going to be a team that's going to be hard to beat in the future. This is Heupel's first year. I think he's doing a tremendous job given the circumstances. And they played tough with Alabama. But Alabama's still pretty good. The problem is Alabama, again, some issues on defense. Not as bad as Oklahoma, but they do have defensive problems. I think it's what's going to keep them from winning another national championship. And I don't see 2 SEC teams getting in the playoffs this year. I just don't. And I really, at this point, don't think Alabama can beat Georgia. So Alabama, if they can fix their defensive problems, maybe they get back into a chance at the CFP. But right now, they're on the outside looking in. At number 4, Cincinnati. I had Cincinnati at 2 last week. They dropped to 4. They win 27-20 against Navy. They look vulnerable. Navy is a team that they're supposed to go out and just blow out. They were 27-point favorites. They were flat. They just came out not ready to play, bottom line. They were not ready to play. Navy had a chance to win that game at the end. Cincinnati survives, and bottom line, whether you agree with it or not, if Cincinnati finishes undefeated, they're in the playoffs. I don't care about anything else. They are in. They're deserving to be in if they finish undefeated. The way they play today, I don't know if that's going to happen. But until they lose, I'm not dropping them any lower than 4. At 3, here's where we get the controversy. Michigan comes in at number 3. They win 33-7 against Northwestern. Michigan has looked pretty good this year. They've looked kind of dominant. And really, it was a splitting hairs here with Michigan and our number 2 team, Ohio State. Ohio State comes in there at number 2 with a win 54-7 over Indiana. And then of course, let's finish off by saying number 1, Georgia. They're number 1, obviously. They had a bye week and they are the top team. So let's get back to 2 and 3 because that's what everybody's going to want to talk about or comment about in our videos going forward. Here's the deal. I wanted to put Michigan at 2. I initially had them at 2 because they're undefeated and Ohio State has the 1 loss. But truthfully, do I think Michigan is better than Ohio State? Which team would win that game? Right now, I think Ohio State is the better team, despite the 1 loss. I think if they were to play now, Ohio State wins that game. And the truth is, since 2003, Michigan has only won that game against Ohio State twice. And I know we're talking about this year, we're not talking about the past, but look, until Michigan beats Ohio State, I can't rank them above Ohio State. I can't do it. Ohio State has the best offense in college football right now, and Georgia has the best defense. They are the number 1 and number 2 team right now until somebody beats them. That's just the bottom line. Fortunately for Michigan and Michigan fans, you get your shot at the end of the year, and we're going to see if you can do it this year. I don't think you can, but I know a lot of you do. You guys are optimistic about it, so we'll see how that plays out. But bottom line is, Georgia is the top team in the country, undisputed, no doubt about it. And I feel Ohio State is the second best team in the country. Michigan comes in at 3, Cincinnati 4. Those would be my playoff teams if it was to start next week. So, hey, that's all I have for this week. Please be sure to support our sponsor, BUSR. Go to busr.com/RedZone. Sign up, deposit your money, and start playing, and get you a free play. Use the sports promo code. But hey, don't just sign up. Go put some money in, play, bet, win some money. And also, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Always hit that like button and leave your comment. Tell me what you think. I know a lot of you Michigan fans will. I want to know what you think about these rankings. And hey, let's move on to week 9. Huge games this week. Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Michigan State, and some others. Georgia, Florida. So it's going to be a heck of a week 9, and I'm ready for it. I hope you are too. Hey, good luck if you're betting on games next week, and I'll see you next time. Take care.